All right, mic check, mic check. Are we live? What do you guys say? Thursday night session. God bless you. So much to cover. Systems coming down, right? And we have the markets going up, completely oblivious to the wars, to the cyber attacks, to all the bad news. All the situations that we're seeing to continue unfolding are not stopping this market from chugging along and continuing to pump. Now, cryptocurrency moved basically sideways today. We're seeing alts just pump, getting a little bit of an altcoin season taking place right now. But we're looking at these markets and they line up for a broader correction, which is why I've remained hesitant before I put on the bull blinders, just like these markets, and only look up. For me, I'm looking back at history, and what I see lines up perfectly with where we're at right now. And I make sure that I stay tuned in on the current events, every asset class within the financial markets, so that I can tie this whole thing together to form my investment thesis, which is what I share with you guys here on a daily basis. I appreciate everyone for stopping by. Once again, this is the new live schedule, Tuesday, Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and then on Saturdays, 12:30 Pacific, 3:30 Eastern Pacific Saturday session. So trying to line up the schedule for you guys. Hope you appreciate the content. Let's get right on into it. So much to cover here tonight, and we're going to put it all together for you. Let's get it going. Appreciate you. Now, here we go. We're taking a look at this market to get started, and you can see we got basically chopping sideways. Not much action. 51,300 for Bitcoin. Ethereum hanging just below 3,000. You have Solana at 102 and XRP at 54 cents. So sideways action today, and we are getting sun ejections. Solar flares taking place that are pretty interesting. We get our third X class. Let me repeat, that would be our third X-class solar flare within 24 hours. Excuse me. X 6.37, the most powerful flare of the current cycle. So we are seeing some action take place. We also are reporting cyber attacks. This one attacked pharmacies. We had cell phone outage today. They are not blaming that on the cell phone. The cell phone issue is not being blamed on the solar flare. But nonetheless, we have a lot of stuff that's popping off right now. Definitely some excitement. And like I said, the systems are going down. The system is breaking on the back end. The masses don't know where to look. They don't know how to decode the data. They don't understand the details. All they see is headline reading. If they even take a chance to really care or look at what's taking place, if they can plug out of whatever metaverse we're living in, whatever reality we're living in, and we say, hey, what's really going on here? Because all we see is green candles on the charts. And I tell you what, we're also getting pre-programming delivered to us here by Senator Marco Rubio. Warns Chinese cyber attack will be 100 times worse than AT&T outage. China will hit your power, your water, and your bank, Senator says. As I continue to say, what do you have for blackout barter? And if you think that I'm just sitting on silver to barter with when the systems go down, you would be mistaken. Maybe I'm going to keep some chapstick. Probably not, but you get my point. I'm stacking essentials. I'm stacking food. I'm stacking metal. I'm stacking freedom seeds. I'm talking vegetable seeds. The garden is starting up early this spring here. We're going to go get us some starts as well. Get it cooking. Options. You know what I'm talking about, okay? So this is where we're at. And I was going on live on TikTok earlier today, and I was saying how we don't have to predict the exact black swan. We don't have to predict the exact day. Same thing applies for moon date. I don't need to know the exact moon date when XRP goes to a higher price. I just need to be prepared with my bag of XRP ready to go. I just need to be prepared with my blackout barter, my essentials. How am I going to get food, water, and shelter for my family? And you don't know what it's going to be. Does it really matter what it's going to be? Does it matter who they blame? Whether they blame this country, that country, the boogeyman, the aliens, the fallen ones are going to be arriving, revealing themselves, I guess. What a time to be alive. And guess what they announced today? The first, the first time we have arrived back on the moon. and that would be Odysseus, I believe is the name. Odyssey, Odysseus. You guys let me know in the comments down below. But apparently, America has made it back, a private mission to the moon. Sure, I put about as much faith and confidence in that as I do the NVIDIA valuation that I'm about to talk about here in just one moment. and this is what I'm talking about with a distorted reality, a message for the masses, priming everyone. And meanwhile, it's hard not to laugh at some of this stuff, and I try to make it joking and lighthearted, but we understand how serious this is. This is no joking. No, this is not a joke. This is not a game. We got to get our crap, our you-know-what, together. Otherwise, it's not a matter of not just missing the gains, the investment opportunities. Before we can even get to the investment opportunities, we got to survive this, whatever this is, whatever they're throwing at us. And this is why we prepare ourselves on every single level, not just financially, but also one might want to get a little spiritually aligned right now, whatever that means to you. Get clarity with your purpose, your vision, and your objectives, and don't let anyone get in your way right now. This is the mentality to save your family, save your business, and God willing, make a little bit enough extra to give back to your church, give back to your community how you see fit. But if you believe it, we have gone back to the moon, and NVIDIA is breaking this stock market. Brand new records being set. Take a look at it, folks. NVIDIA surged to an all-time high is the biggest single session increase in market value in history. Shares of the chipmaker jumped 16% Thursday, adding about $277 billion in market cap, bringing its total market cap value near $2 trillion. Now, that's not it, though, for NVIDIA. You can't make this up. They just casually added another $35 billion in market cap in after-hours trading today. This is the same thing that we noted that took place yesterday, where after hours, the rally was already well on its way over $700 per share. And now, once again, they add another $35 billion in market cap after hours trading. In total, NVIDIA has now added $312 billion in market cap today. That's more than the entire market value of Goldman Sachs, Boeing, and Target combined. If you include the after-hours move, today's gain is about 60% larger than Meta's previous record of $197 billion. NVIDIA is currently just 3% away from being the third public U.S. company with a $2 trillion market cap. How high can this stock go? Can we return to the moon? Can NVIDIA go any higher? You guys let me know in the comments down below, and we're going to enjoy the show. And I'll tell you, someone who's definitely enjoying this show until she realized that, oh, crap, they caught me and they're watching me. It's interesting, though. It's almost as if these folks have no shame after they've been caught. We're talking about Nancy Pelosi trading NVIDIA. Pelosi has already made 10x her annual salary in just 92 days off one NVIDIA trade. She's up nearly $2 million cashing in. I guess I need to sign up for Pelosi's newsletter or whatever she's got, her program. I'd like to get tapped in myself, right? She's got the alpha, apparently. And once again, tech stocks have saved the day. The S&P 500 just hit a new all-time high of 5,075, which puts the index about 24% above its October 27th low. In just 4 months, the S&P 500 has more than doubled its average annual return. And this is what I'm saying. The Wall Street money managers, they can't allow their investors to miss this, and it's causing concentration. That's why there's no breadth in this market, which is diversification of the value within the index. That's what the breadth is. We have consolidation of value in a magnificent 7 stocks that is keeping the whole show going. And they can't let their investors miss out on this. And so it has everyone being some would say aggressive speculators would be a way to describe it, because everybody's trying to chase the most amount of yield. And when you get returns of 4 months that's double the average annual return, think about that. In just over 1 quarter, 4 months, you're getting double the annual return. If you didn't return that to your investors, right, then people are like, what the heck am I missing out on, right? So this is what's causing this consolidation of everyone, all of the funds now, all these ETFs, all these products. and you look at who owns all this, the consolidation of who owns it is pretty centralized. And then also the breadth within these indexes and funds is consolidated within these Magnificent Seven. And if you want to extend out, there's maybe a few other companies as well that are keeping the whole show going. Look at us on the edge of our seat. We're all not even watching our trip to the moon, I guess, because we're busy watching NVIDIA, right? Has the whole world, all the financial markets globally on the edge of our seat for one company. This is how consolidated this market has gotten. And how do bubbles end is the question, right? How do bubbles end? Time and time again. And by the way, I just shared this in our Discord group. Jamie Dimon just sold off some more stock of JP Morgan Chase, by the way. We noted how he had already recently sold some, and it was the first time that he's ever sold stock in his JP Morgan Chase company. Now we've combined that. We heard that actually that Meta's Mark Zuckerberg dumped more stock. Actually, that got announced today. And then Bezos dumped more last week. We also noted in the update that I dropped earlier today on NVIDIA, it was a whole video dedicated to NVIDIA. I broke down how, if you read into the details, they've been doing significant share buybacks, which is pretty normal. But the way that they've been conducting them and the way that they've been handling things is worth taking a look at, especially if you're considering investing. Before you just throw money at green candles, I would take a look at the fundamentals. And that's how we approach all of our investments, right? Fundamental basis. And so this is why we're watching what's taking place in the markets, because there's still plenty of cash in the system. Remember how much the Fed printed. Remember how much we're bailing out, forgiveness, moratoriums. Now it's finally coming due, except for the student loans. Now Biden just did another $1.2 billion. So how many votes can he buy? That's the mission there. And then we'll see who's ever going to end up paying this deal, or if we're just going to keep on kicking the can down the road. So this is where we're at right now with this market going nuts. And once again, it's tech leading the overall space. To put this into perspective, the value added over this 4-month period is bigger than every stock market in the world other than China and the US. Over this time period, the S&P 500 has added $9 trillion in market cap. Folks, and folks think that we're crazy for talking about some of these cryptocurrencies, their networks, right? And the value of these tokens themselves going into the trillions. Well, look at these companies, right? Look at the amount of money that's flowing around and continues to flow. You see these flows in the trillions. The S&P 500 has added a value equivalent to 2 of India's stock markets combined in 4 months. Truly historic. And us Americans don't even really realize how great we've had it. Most of us are asleep at the wheel. And what we do is we get our financial statement from the advisor, and we've made some gains that are pretty significant. But what folks forget is that downside, which is exactly what I just shared in my NVIDIA update earlier today, is we saw the same exact comments from Jim Cramer, literally. The Cramer kiss of death. He was saying that it was a deal to buy NVIDIA in December of 2021. This was after their November 2021 quarterly earnings came out. It's the same exact headlines. It's just bigger numbers these days. The company has grown, at least on paper. Will they be able to actually get paid for all of the services and products delivered? We'll see how much they collect. But nonetheless, the numbers have gotten substantially bigger. The headlines are the exact same. The sentiment is the exact same. And after that November earnings report and Jim Cramer giving it the kiss of death in December, 68% sacrifice. That's what NVIDIA got. That's why I don't play around in these markets unless I know what I'm invested in. 68% sacrifice. It's all fun and games until you get cleaned out. And I'm not here to say that it does that again. I'm just watching for some sort of correction. Some sort of correction pullback, right? And this is where we're at. Meanwhile, we bring it back to the real data on the street. This is the headlines that we're reading. Jobless claims coming out today. They fall to a 5-week low of 201,000. Labor market still has plenty of muscle. People are going back to work. That's what this is, in my opinion, is it's not only are folks getting a second and third job, folks are no longer going to unemployment, right? They're saying, no, I need to make money because my bills are due now. When your bill wasn't due, when your rent wasn't due, when your student loan debt wasn't due, then it was easy to, not work, file for unemployment, file for your claims, and receive your benefits. Now I feel like people have bills due, and inflation, even if you wait to collect a check, is going to kill your little check from the government. And so the jobless claims, once again, it tells two different stories. One, to Wall Street and to the markets, it says, we're still strong, we're still rocking and rolling, everything's fine. To Main Street, we have an anxiety amongst our population now about, am I going to be able to keep my job through this recession, this silent recession that they won't admit is a recession? And as Peter Schiff summarizes right here, this is so perfectly said, as investors prematurely celebrate the death of inflation, oil prices are quietly rising, up 10% so far this year. A much larger rise looks imminent. Also, bonds are quietly breaking down while gold looks poised to break out. These markets all indicate that inflation lives on. These are leading markets, right? The bond market is a leading indicator. These are supposed to be the most sophisticated and best traders in the world. And bonds are relatively, they move constantly, but they're moving more slowly, I would say, than traditional equities or cryptocurrencies, right? But you're talking more macro trends, especially as you invest in bonds that could be years out. This is the debt market. And so the debt market, gold, and oil are all signaling inflation's nowhere near done. In fact, the only reason why oil came down to where it's at right now in US dollar terms is because we have strengthened the dollar by raising rates at the fastest pace in history. We have the cleanest shirt in the closet. So that's what brought the DXY back up to that high. And you saw oil prices compared to dollars, right, came down. But now that's starting to tick back up, as Peter highlights, up 10% so far this year. So while we're, looking at, CPI is only at 3.1%, inflation's over, market's up, it's a party, have a good time. Meanwhile, 40,000 plus layoffs already announced this month, and we're seeing that the leading indicators, these markets right here, oil, gold, and also your bonds, are telling a different story. I covered the bond market as well in the real estate update this morning that I dropped as well. Dropped 2 updates, one on real estate, one on NVIDIA. That's why I got to make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our content. We got it coming for you guys every single day, and we're not going to stop. And I'll tell you what's not going to stop is going to be the interest payments growing on the U.S. debt. Take a look at it. Interest expense on the debt will now exceed defense. We've been covering that. But now add in Medicare. For the first time in history this year, previous spending now costs more than current spending, putting us near the Minsky moment in U.S. Treasury debt. When the dam breaks, down goes the U.S. dollar. Now, we've highlighted how this is the end of the empire expanding. We got pretty far. We ran up trillions, 34 trillion in national debt and over 125 trillion in unfunded liabilities. And we expanded pretty far. We have seen the NATO alliance grow militarily. Our trade deals have grown pretty rapidly and stayed steady. And everybody was using the dollar for trade. Now it's starting to contract. Now it's starting to reverse. And it happens slowly and then all of a sudden. And by the time the masses realize it's happening, this is when you're at the very end of the currency life cycle where you get absolutely cleaned out. This is where we get generational wealth transfer opportunities to those who own the assets and will be able to continue to own assets, or the ones that don't own assets and will never be able to get into the asset ownership class. That's their great reset. That's why I come here every single day to break down the current events in all of the markets, all of the asset classes, so that we can actually have fundamentals behind our thesis, not just be talking out our ass when we say that this crypto is going to go to the moon. Now, continuing on, we see that the European Central Bank has announced its first annual loss for almost 2 decades, right on schedule. And so I find it so interesting that we got the presser that came out today from the European Central Bank saying that Bitcoin wouldn't work as a reserve currency, wouldn't work for anything, and that basically it was just a failure and it was only used for fraud, right? That's what we got from the European Central Bank. And I was thinking about how the deflection from these central bankers is pretty hilarious, right? They want to bash on cryptocurrency. Not that I'm a fan of Bitcoin, really. I respect Bitcoin. I don't really care for it much more than just paying my respects to it, right? But other than that, I don't really care for it either. And I think that it is failure as a payment system that's efficient or cheap. It does work. It's relatively slow, somewhat decentralized, I guess. I could debate those topics, but you're hearing it from the European Central Bank themselves. But it's so funny because if you want to talk about problems, you look at these central banks reporting losses for the first time in 2 decades. Look at the banks in the United States of America, $684 billion on unrealized losses on their bonds. Now we covered it this morning, $1 trillion losses on commercial real estate office buildings. That's just office buildings. That's not even talking about residential real estate either. Now let's continue on. Let's get right on into our crypto update. I appreciate everyone for stopping by. I see a massive 10 spot there from Virginia Man. Hey, Zach, I've been subscribed to your channel since day one. I don't know if it's YouTube, but I haven't been getting the notifications. Appreciate all your hard work, brother. Virginia Man, I appreciate that comment. If everybody could make sure that you hit that notification bell, make sure you're subscribed. And yeah, sometimes the system's acting up. I know today I was wondering if I was even going to be able to stream with the cyber attacks, systems going down. My Wi-Fi was acting weird. It's been a funky day for internet connection, hasn't it? But thank you for reminding everyone to, yeah, make sure you set that notification bell. Sometimes I do those random lives where out of the blue, we're going to fire a session up. Right on into the crypto update, Wrath Economy. Ripple partner Neum has partnered with eBury in Brazil. eBury is owned by Ripple user Santander and owns Ripple users Bex itself. Neum's bulk cross-border payment solution for banks and financial institutions will be integrated into eBury's high-scale payment flows. So this is a partner right here, very interesting, and we continue to see Ripple partners expanding. Is Ripple involved in this? Is XRP? The real issue is eBury. Everyone involved was a Ripple partner at some time, and the use case fits, but it is unclear how eBury has dealt with Ripple in the acquisition of Bexes. So we are going to continue to watch this company, another partnership with Ripple that you just continue to see expansion and growth. As I said, and I'm going to continue to say, Ripple has not pivoted. They are expanding. They are growing. They're making acquisitions and moves into custody. They're moving into tokenization. They've moved into NFTs. They're trying to support projects building on the XRPL. They're trying to do it all. And it's easy to criticize the company. I would say that, yeah, sure. I'm sure that there's areas that they're behind. I mean, we've heard David Schwartz admit that they're not as far along in the journey as they'd like to be. Does that mean that it's unsuccessful? Absolutely not. Does it mean that they pivoted? Absolutely not. The focus is still on payments. They've still been successful with that, nonetheless. And I'm here to say that it's about to accelerate after the United States SEC gets the hell out of the way. And Judge Torres gives the Ripple the green light. Yeah, guys, the way that you adjusted your contracts after the lawsuit is perfectly in alignment with how, we write up these contracts to not create an investment contract. You're good to go about your business. And Ripple set sail. And we fire it up in the United States of America. Meanwhile, we've been growing outside the U.S. this whole time. Now, outside of the U.S., you are already seeing XRP ETPs, exchange-traded products, already going live. This one from Chad. Valor launches XRP ETP. Valor Inc. announces record assets under management, and they're talking 590 million launch of Valor Inc.'s Ripple XRP and Binance BNB ETPs. So they now have 590 assets under management. That would be million M's in the bank account. M's under management would be 590 million, and that's for Valor. And they're listed on a European stock exchange that's traded over there in Finland, Sweden, and a couple of those other countries over there. I'm going to talk more about that in a separate video, but I wanted to get to this clip right here. We just got the interview from Brad Garlinghouse where he said that XRP ETFs and ETPs, it's inevitable. We're going to get baskets. We're going to get individual one-offs. And he specifically commented on BlackRock. Now, remember, back at the beginning of January, I started to talk about this after we saw Charlie Gasparino invite Larry Fink, the CEO, on. And we've been watching Larry Fink incredibly closely, right? The largest asset manager in the world, you bet I watch and listen to every single thing that Larry Fink says. And it's been interesting to watch the transition from I don't really understand this to, yeah, of course we're basically going all in, which is kind of their current take, right? And he couldn't specifically talk about XRP, but we got to hear Brad Garlinghouse, and the way that he answered and replied to the question made me even more curious about the potential for BlackRock to not only maybe do a XRP spot ETF, but also the potential for BlackRock to do these basket ETFs, which is exactly what Brad Garlinghouse mentioned. And if you guys didn't see it, we retweeted it out here today. Uphold just announced that they're offering basket investment opportunities on their platform. One of them is the Big Three, which allows you to invest into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. So they've started to create basket products there with Uphold, and they're one of my affiliates at my website, zachrector.com. If you need an exchange that you can trust, if you want any wallets for cryptocurrency storage, we got you covered there with the rest of our community resources. Uphold's one of them. If you want to go check that out, you can. And I appreciate everyone who supports us by using our affiliate links. It really does mean the world to me. And with Uphold setting it and getting it going, we've talked about Grayscale large cap fund. They're going to roll that sucker probably into an ETF, and it includes XRP once again. It's going to be interesting to watch if Grayscale launches an XRP trust once again, like they used to have. And then we're watching this clip right here. I'm going to play this one for you guys. You guys can check this out. This is Brad Garlinghouse's comments on BlackRock and what Larry Fink said as well. Check this one out right here, folks. This is from an interview just a few days ago.
Will you do another ETF? How about an XRP?
Hold up. Before I play this clip, look into Charlie Gasparino's eyes. He was so excited to ask this question. He knew this was going to go viral. And huge shout out to Charlie Gasparino. I know that he trolls the XRP community, but today he highlighted how John Deaton is giving Elizabeth Warren a run for her money. So I want to give a quick shout out to Charlie for that regard. And he actually shouted out Eleanor Terrett, who is really putting in the work. And we love Eleanor Terrett and her work and her coverage of the SEC Ripple lawsuit. But now we're seeing XRP hit the mainstream because John Deaton is putting up a fight against Elizabeth Warren. That's not just going to be a little battle in Massachusetts, guys. This is going to be a nationwide battle. In fact, this will have global coverage because Elizabeth is, she's known worldwide, and John Deaton is known worldwide by the XRP community outside the US as well. So this is going to be massive. And now we're seeing Charlie Gasparino shared a clip here earlier today on Fox Business explaining why Elizabeth Warren and DC was in full panic mode already about John Deaton showing up to run against her, right? But look into Charlie's eyes. He was so excited. He couldn't wait on the edge of his seat to ask CEO of BlackRock, Larry Fink, if they've considered an XRP ETF. Listen in here, folks.
Will you do another ETF? How about an XRP ETF? I know you got Ether out there. How about XRP? Can you answer that?
I can't.
How about XRP? Can you answer that? I can't.
Are you in talks with the largest issuers, particularly BlackRock, to get this done?
Well, I'm not going to comment on that. I know BlackRock has said some things publicly. We think it makes sense for the XRP community overall.
Will you do another ETF? How about an XRP?
There you have it, folks. And you could see Larry Fink himself, right? And I joked when that came out about how those guys were texting. Charlie and Larry were literally texting each other that night, laughing probably at the XRP community and all of us that were going crazy, right? Giving them all the coverage on Twitter, right? And blowing this thing up. And meanwhile, Larry and Charlie are probably texting each other laughing, right? They can't wait to unveil what they've been working on, folks. This is something that we've never seen before, a whole new asset class. And if you look at how BlackRock has approached the ETF space, they come in to dominate. I mean, they are the largest asset manager in the world for a reason. And when you look at how they've moved into gold, right? They have 4 or 5 ETFs for gold alone. I think they do have a few for silver. And I'll go through the rest of the list here later, and I'll give it to you guys how many ETFs they actually have. But this is what they're all about. For gold, they have most of the ETFs just track the price of gold, the underlying commodity, And then they have one that's in equities as well, in miners, in producers. So they have an offering, right? A diversification that they can offer to their investors. So this isn't a matter of, oh, are they thinking about it? This is going to be a race to offer the best fund and to get those assets under management, or to keep the assets under management. That's why this is a race. This is not a game. This isn't, oh, guys, I'm super excited for Wall Street to come in. No, Wall Street's coming in to control this space, just like they've controlled with gold and silver and the derivatives and those ETFs that they've used as part of that, right? So this is how they come in to control these spaces. This is how they control the world, literally. And so they're going to be racing to launch the first XRP ETF. They're going to be racing to launch the first basket, the first large cap fund. And as you saw, they were racing to launch Bitcoin. We already got Ethereum considerations. Franklin Templeton just filed last week. And at the time I mentioned, how long until Franklin Templeton files for that XLM ETF? We know that Franklin Templeton loves the Stellar Network. They've put a few $100 million worth of tokenized mutual funds on the Stellar Network. This isn't a game. These guys are coming to kill it all, to take it all, right? And this is what I made as far as the point on these ETFs and Wall Street coming in to control it. People are worried. Oh, they're going to do what they've done to gold and silver and suppress it forever. Please note, Wall Street wasn't able to get control of gold and silver through the ETFs and the derivatives market until after gold did a 5x, silver did a 10x. Then after that run up in 2011 during the Great Financial Crisis, then after that, they were able to get a grip on it. They lost control after 2020. Gold triple tapped above 2000. And then here finally at the end of the year in December, we break through and gold goes to a new all-time high in US dollars to 2,150. And just like gold already breaking out in many other currencies, I just saw a post that Bitcoin has broken out to all-time high already in 14 other currencies as well. So this is happening now. The US it's unfortunate that we've been left behind. This is why they're going to be playing catch up. This is the pent up demand that you're seeing right now in the spot Bitcoin ETFs that's driving it up so high, was pent up demand of folks that wanted to get exposure to Bitcoin, but they didn't have an option other than going to Coinbase or exchanges and doing the crypto deal, which someone in a 401k account might not have that ability, right? These pension funds don't have the ability. And so now we've opened up the floodgates. You see the pent-up demand, what it's done to Bitcoin, and it's going to expand into the broader cryptocurrency space. Gold did a 5x, silver did a 10x. What is crypto going to do? I believe better. I'll go on record and say I think we do better. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because gold and silver had 2,000 years of exposure. It was an asset, it was a currency, it was respected, and it was known about for thousands of years. Then we got an ETF. Crypto's only been around for about 10 years. And we're finally getting our ETFs. This is why I think we do bigger than a 510x. That's an overall cryptocurrency space. And that doesn't happen tomorrow. Remember, gold ETF launched in 2003. Silver ETF launched in 2006. And in fact, the US, State Street, didn't get a ETF for gold until 2004. So the first one was in Australia, 2003. Then in 2004, State Street went live in the US. Gold didn't go set that new all-time high until 2011. So yeah, 7-8 years difference. Same thing with silver. And so we're finding ourselves right in the beginning of that next commodity super cycle. And I definitely include crypto commodities, cryptocurrencies in that commodity super cycle that we're about to witness, that is beginning before us. Now, I wanted to share this clip because this is what this comes back down to for me. Everybody has a great story about their crypto. Oh, we got this. We're gonna leverage AI. I love hearing that one. We're gonna leverage AI. We're gonna do a deal. We're really cute. Our community's strong. Everybody has a story, right? What this always comes back to for me, what really it gets me excited. Yeah, sure, let's go trade and make some money. Well, that's cool. But what this always comes back to is putting a dent in the universe conversations. Creating new reserve currency conversations, getting sound money to be respected and implemented worldwide. Those are the conversations, that's the ideas that get me excited. obviously there's a portion that believe that Bitcoin is set to become a new world reserve currency. And I would argue that for some, it is. Perception is reality. And in today's society of identify whatever the hell you want, then have yourself a day. Call yourself whatever you want. I call my XRP a reserve currency as well. And the Bitcoin bros believe that Bitcoin's one. And it is going to capture a portion of the reserve currency share of the pie. That's the beautiful thing. But what this always comes back to me is the currency war and the use of payments and the use of a currency for payments and as a store of value. There's two aspects to a reserve currency. You have the store of value, and then you have the transaction settlement currency. So there's two parts of the reserve currency. And then the third factor that comes in is the United States has been able to enforce their reserve currency, just like we've seen throughout history. You enforce the reserve currency with the largest military at the time. And that's exactly what we have as the largest military known to man. As I covered, though, earlier in this episode, our interest payments on our debt have now surpassed our military spending, have now surpassed our Medicare. So our people are dying, and we're not going to be able to fund to send to expand the military. We're not going to be able to conquer any more land. And so this is where the empire at least comes into correction. Is it the end of the U.S. as we know it? Well, I would argue probably. This country's already so far gone from what I grew up as a kid, understanding the USA to be and the opportunity that I grew up being proud of, right? And I still am proud of today, and I still am fighting for to this very day. And we're going to go down shooting the whole way. We're not going to stop this fight. And this is so much bigger than XRP, as I highlighted in the show last night, talking about the damages done. And we don't know how big this XRP story gets, but when you talk currencies, reserve currencies, it's a conversation that 99.9% of the space cannot legitimately have. Bitcoin is about the only other one. I don't know, maybe some folks think that Ethereum is going to be the world reserve currency. For all I know, it might be. With the free pass, it gets allowed to go through, and there's already so much crap built on it. Who knows? At some point, it might be. And the thing is, I guess, the US dollar is inflationary, and so is Ethereum. We don't know. There is no cap on Ethereum. So there's nothing really stopping it. Once again, perception is reality. The value is in the eyes of the beholder. What is the fair market value of XRP? We're going to find out. And I found this clip right here from the Impact Theory podcast, Tim Billu and Raoul Pal. And I want to play this clip. And Raoul Pal explained this so well, how this is a national security reserve currency status conversation when you really get down to it. Listen in on this clip, folks. This one's interesting.
Kind of mechanism.
And as you see above, Real XRP Boy says, tell me how you feel about Ripple without telling me how you feel about Ripple. Remember that Raoul Pal is invested in XRP. I don't know if he's invested in the company Ripple, but our good friend Will from Crypto Insight UK, he actually sent me the prospectus, essentially was what it was, that Will had wrote up on XRP to send to Raoul Pal for his macro, his newsletter, his investors, or his community, I guess, right? So we know that he is invested in XRP. That's what's interesting about this. Listen to what he has to say here, though.
Kind of mechanism. And I also think this is more contentious. That's the reason Binance survived everything, is the Chinese government wanted it to. Because that is the linkage between the fiat world and the crypto world. And they own the Chinese state, essentially, is a supporter of the largest crypto exchange in the world, because that is a potential bet on the future of the system of money. And it wants a say in that. And it makes total sense.
Where's Binance headquartered?
There isn't one.
Where does, oh God, what's his name?
CZ, Dubai.
This is a new world. You can't even find these guys. They're off and running like a thief in the night. Where's their headquarters? They don't got one. This is the new world.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say, I can't fathom that he's actually in China. Very interesting. So when you think about, sorry, go
and
ahead.
the US will probably support Coinbase in the end.
What?
Because everybody needs control of this situation. If not, the UK will take control of the entire money, the global world of new money. or the
yeah,
digital
look,
system
I
of
hope you're
value.
right about that, but I don't see a single move on behalf of the U.S. government that would lead me to believe that unless they lose the Coinbase lawsuit, I think they're just going to
we
keep
have a
full
change
steam
of
ahead.
government.
Yeah, true.
Which is,
What do you think about 2024?
And you can catch the rest of that full interview there. That's Impact Theory is the show.
And I also think
with Raoul Paul. And, you know, exactly like you said, this is a matter of national security interest and reserve currency conversation. Like I said, you can't even have it legitimately with 99.9% of the space. Now, what's important to note, as they highlighted there, yes, we're going to get a change of administration, but, excuse me, the SEC is already losing cases. And what's happening right now is the SEC is full-on assault, Operation Choke Point, collect as much money as possible, get these guys to fold. They are getting literally caught falsifying evidence and documents, and their claims are bold lies that they're getting caught for in the courts. And they're about to get sanctioned by U.S. judges potentially. They are losing cases to companies like Ripple. And now you just saw tonight, this is actually breaking in the last hour, I saw the Eleanor Terrett shared that Kraken filed their motion to dismiss, which is relatively standard, but you are seeing them take losses, and it's a full-on move to collect as much, gather as much power as possible, and they're going to do everything that they can to remain in power through this election cycle. You got NVIDIA printing $2 million for Nancy Pelosi, on top of every other deal that she's probably engaged in, right? You have Biden giving $1.2 billion of student loan debt here. Every month he's trying to give away another $1 billion of student loan debt. Now he's got $1 trillion worth of student loan debt to forgive, so we'll see how far he gets. Obviously, the Supreme Court has struck him down. As we said, these folks with their agenda that is not about left-right, it's about the program's not only a failure. When you understand their program, one would think, are you trying to kill us? Metaphorically and financially speaking, of course. Or maybe literally. What are you trying to do to us? Because this agenda, this program, it's so clear. It is the road to ruin, complete destruction. We all live like peasants with no purpose. But thanks, we get our UBI check, we can keep getting fat, and we can be plugged into Metaland. AI forever. And this is the setup right now. And as Raoul Paul mentioned, I believe the same thing, that they have already chosen Coinbase. I believe that they have already chosen and vetted Circle. I believe that they already actually have chosen and are going to be working with Ripple. As a matter of fact, I know they are, because we just saw the update on the Faster Payments Council, which is part of FedNow, released and put out by Ripple. So we already know they're working with Ripple. On the other end, they're suing them. And it makes you wonder if all the world's a stage, and it makes you wonder how far they're going to get before we're able to punch this bully back and put this bully back in their place, right? This is a bully that's not used to getting, hit back. This is a bully that's used to nobody actually sticking up for themselves and hitting them back. And this is why I stand behind John Deaton as he leads the charge as a general on the legal battlefield to win back and save America. That's what this is, folks. I humbly stand behind and am willing to take my orders from John Deaton and the others that you guys can, you guys already know. And you guys in this community are part of not only saving the United States of America, but saving this world. Now, the battle is a little bit farther along in some other countries, right? We already got an agenda that's farther along in some of these other countries and jurisdictions. And that's a battle that I stand with all of the good men and women across this planet with you guys on, is supporting the cause. It's just a fact, right? That each country, each state, even within the United States, finds itself in a new situation, as we're seeing now in New York. Weaponized justice system, and it's going to only lead to an accelerated decline of these jurisdictions. And see, the problem is, I asked the question, how's your program working out? And these folks have manipulated our data and manipulated our realities to the point where we can ask them, how's the program working out? And they can tell us that it's working out fantastic. as you guys have seen now, Biden wants to take credit for the stock market. If you're going to take credit for when it goes up, are you going to take credit for when the bottom falls out here shortly? And I firmly believe that the bottom falls out here before this election comes in. And in fact, I believe that we're about to see it break and crack and actually drop here in the next month or so. But please consider my analysis and my thesis, this timeline for this year, which is, yes, it breaks this year, but then it also, the recovery, the response is the same as it was in 2020. And so to Valhalla we go. They say that we went to the moon today. As the sun is blasting flares at us, we made it to the moon. So they say. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Let's do some Q&A here for about 15 minutes. That's a 45-minute session. I appreciate everyone for tuning in for that update. I want to spend some time with you guys sipping my adult beverage. We have 15 minutes to go. Drop your comments, questions down below. If you haven't already, please like this video. God bless you all. Everything's at my website, ZachRector.com, and I appreciate all the support so much. God bless you guys. God bless you, Stuart. It's so good to see my Australian friend. Keeping everyone on track as per usual, Zach. Take my Aussie funny money. We collect it all. And I couldn't do it without you guys. Seriously, it really means the world to me. Whether you support us, 5 spot on Patreon, whether you're like Stuart making it rain, everybody else in the chat, even if you can just support us, it's free to smash that thumbs up. It really means the world to me, guys. There is so much momentum behind our community, and I try to keep reminding us that on a daily basis. Folks think that I'm doom and gloom, and that I'm a bear that doesn't have an allocation that has been going up. An allocation that we're not making money. We're making money. We're making trades. We're making moves. We're still running businesses, still spitting out cash flow. And first off, it all just comes back to my family, feeling completely blessed right now that everybody in my life right now is healthy. Everyone in my life has work, the ability to make a living, and God willing, I'm hoping to lead the charge through to the other side for my family and my community and my businesses. Appreciate you, Stuart. How's everyone else doing? What flavor of ramen? Once in a while, I try to eat some ramen just to remind myself, that any day we could be eating ramen, eating soup, eating whatever else you got prepared on the shelf. You better get a plan together or you're going to be stuck eating ramen. And I like to stay hungry. I do a lot of fasting. And I'm going to be prioritizing my health here sometime this year. I like the flat earth model for sure. Oh boy, don't get us started on there. Flat earth, round earth, egg shape, cube. I know there's some cubers out there. How about that? Some cubers. Ramen gang in the house. Brendan knows what's up. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Yep, a little bit of ramen. I ate leftovers tonight. Trying to rein it in. I'm trying to stack as much as possible right now. These suppressed assets aren't going to be this cheap forever, folks. You guys know the deal. They're not going to be this cheap forever. Now, yeah, markets are just about sideways. What are we working with? I actually love ramen. Well, Stuart, there are levels to ramen, right? You can get that cheap ramen, and I know that there is better ramen. I've never had it, to be honest. If I'm going to go out somewhere to eat, I want a slab of meat on that plate is kind of my standard, unless I'm doing some pasta or something. But even in chicken Alfredo, please. Spaghetti and meatballs, please. Give me a little bit of meat on that plate, especially if I'm going to go out to eat. Ramen to me, it's like soup for dinner. I like soup for dinner if I'm sick, but well, and most of the reason is because I've been not eating all day. Right. So finally, when it's time to eat a late lunch or finally eat dinner, I need some, something good. Vitamin B17 cures cancer. Elias, isn't it interesting how many natural things we have to put at work right now? I want to give a huge shout out to my community because there's folks in my Discord community that have been keeping the lockdown on health, the health channel that we have in our Discord. And our Discord is not just about crypto. We have channels for just about everything. And one of them is for health. And, what's interesting about that conversation is we were only able to have the health conversation over in the Discord for so long. And still to this day, I don't talk about health on the public platform. Even natural cures and remedies, and all that stuff. I don't really get into that too much. And one, it's because I don't spend any time studying that. Huge shout out to Wifey. She handles all the holistic healthcare in our house, and she does a fantastic job. But I rely on our members of our Discord group who've been sharing and keeping it locked on the health channel. We've had some good conversations on that type of stuff. In fact, we had some members of the community that did a community fast for 72 hours, I think, was the goal. How did that go? I'm going to have to check back and see. Everybody survived. I think I'd get pretty hangry, but I've never done a significant extended fast. Health, prepping, book club, hangout, and so much more in the Discord group. Brenda, I appreciate you. Wow, leftovers were had here as well. Yep. Plugin is a hidden gem. Plugin. Is that for XDC? Brenda says 72 hours. I lasted 72 seconds. Yeah. I was considering it. Wifey's like, no, you're not. I don't want to deal with you. She knows how angry I would get. Oh boy. After my mentor Dan Pena said that none of the billionaires have six-pack, I used that as my excuse to stop working out a couple years ago. And ever since then, I've just been working on my dad bod and working on stacking my money. And like I said, my mentor, Dan, he says, none of these billionaires have six-packs. And I was thinking about it the other day, I'm like, Jeff Bezos, now he has a six-pack. I don't know if it's real or not. And I'm sure that he's juiced up. I'm sure that he's got some supplements, all right. But Jeff Bezos became worth what? What is he worth? 10, 20, I don't know how many billions he's worth. He stacked up all those billions and then he got in shape. Because I was seeing the clip of Jeff Bezos in, it was the late 90s. And somebody was interviewing from national television. And they were rolling around Seattle in his Honda Accord, his 1990 Honda Accord. And at that time, he had already become worth $1 billion. And he was still rolling around in the Accord. But he was a little scrawny little nerd back then, right? And I was just laughing about that. I was like, yeah, Bezos did it right. He stacked up a few billy and then he got the six-pack and did the deal. And I don't know, he's still a weirdo to me. You look into his eyes and I'm like, dude, are you real? What am I looking at right now? Stuart, 100%. Without that health, what are we going to do with the wealth? Not going to matter one bit, is it? XRP to 589 ain't going to matter if we don't got our health, our mindset too. And I'm just so thankful right now, just locked in, so clear on our purpose, our mission. Every single day I'm waking up excited to get to the opportunity at hand. I got tasks that aren't necessarily always the most fun to complete, but I'm just plugged in right now. We're just completely locked in. Jay says still a nerd. Yeah, he's a crazy. High protein, yeah, 100%. JC says the firmament exists. The waters above. Huge shout out to Waters Above Crypto, my man. One of the best. I haven't watched any of his videos in a while, but man, what a guy. I shared one of his tweets on the Super Bowl decode. That was pretty interesting. 22, 22, 22. All the numbers. Have the decoders going crazy. Yep. What else are you guys working with? Drop those comments, questions down below. I think that you guys know the deal right now where we're at in these markets. Got to take advantage of it while we're here, while still remaining liquid, right? This market can remain irrational longer than we can remain solvent if we don't have a plan in place. It's really important. That's right, Jay. 3-day group fast in the Discord group. What a time. We're there for each other in every single way, not just on helping each other pick crypto memes. We go from crypto memes to prepping to health to precious metals to real estate to business. Yeah, and I've been getting some stuff set up. So we're getting our system set up to really pump out our business development content in our tactical wealth lessons, along with investing basics. We're going to be dropping a lot of exclusive content coming up here soon. And I'm kind of just setting up my machine, my system, to really get this cranking. And I'm going to try to make it really short videos that are bite-sized, consumable content is what I'm trying to create for everyone. And that's on business development, tactical wealth. Right now, it's included in your Discord membership, and that may change eventually when I do package up. We're going to be packaging up everything as far as our educational content. So you guys can get in touch at my website, zachrector.com, if you have any questions about that. Now, gosh, Elon Musk has been tweeting some crazy stuff lately, hasn't he? This is what I was talking about earlier, though. We have Eleanor Tarrant right here. Kraken fights back. The U.S. second largest crypto exchange has filed the motion asking Northern California court to dismiss the SEC case, which alleges the company is operating as an unregistered securities exchange, broker, dealer, and clearing agency. A Kraken spokesperson tells Fox Business. The law is clear. None of the assets in the SEC's complaint constitute investment contracts, and Kraken is not a securities exchange. The SEC's case rests on an expansive new theory that would effectively securitize a broad range of ordinary assets and commodities. In the SEC's views, essentially any commercial artifact that can rise or fall in value could be an investment contract. This approach would permit the SEC to commandeer expansive new authority over the U.S. economy, just as Congress is debating how that authority should be allocated among federal agencies. Today, we ask the court to hand this power back to Congress where it belongs. Probably doubtful that the case gets dismissed, but it's going to be interesting to watch that Kraken lawsuit nonetheless. We have Kraken, we have Coinbase, and as I highlighted, the SEC is starting to take some losses. And when we get that change of administration as well, this can really accelerate. Gary Gensler can be out, Jerome Powell can be out at the Fed. Obviously, we'd be bringing in a whole new administration. And depending on how this election goes too on the local level, obviously John Deaton running, right? This could be a massive shakeup. And we highlighted yesterday how there's a group out of Texas that has filed a lawsuit against the SEC as well, down there in Texas. So in the California court, who knows how far we'll get? But there's other courts where we're having major victories, including the SEC Ripple case in New York. That's just massive. I look like Chris Pratt. I appreciate that, I guess. Pray for the end of wars, period, end of peace. Yeah, amen. Amen, Dogwood. Praying for peace right now. Absolutely. Help with accounting, Jessica? Well, yeah, we can get you in touch with people that we know. And right now, you have to understand that for accounting purposes, cryptocurrencies is taxed like property. So you're subject to long-term and short-term capital gains tax. What gets interesting with crypto is when it gets hard to track when you're doing a bunch of degenerate trading. But then also with staking, that gets a little bit different too. And that's where it gets a little bit more complex. But right now, it's basically just treated as property. So, but yeah, we can send you in the right direction if you're looking for an accountant who is well versed in the digital asset space. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up this session. It's been an absolute pleasure tonight. I just want to say thank you for everyone for stopping by. You guys already know that you can support our channel just by liking this video, sharing it out far and wide. Please remember that I did also drop 2 videos earlier today. If you didn't get enough of me today, we got more that we dropped, and we're going to be dropping some more tomorrow. As always, if you want to get in touch with our investment community, That is access through Patreon, gets you access to Discord. Every single Saturday, we have our weekly calls at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. And our new live schedule, as we showed you tonight, we're going to be aiming to go live at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday, Thursday. And then on Saturday, again at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and mark your calendars. And we're going to keep on bringing it every single day. And once again, couldn't do it without all of your guys' support. You guys mean the world to me. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much.